Hi, everyone. This is Miranda with the Valuable Voices podcast. I'm really excited to have you all here. I'm excited for you guys to hear from my new friend, Risa Haasbroek. I hope I said that right. She has an amazing accent. I can't wait to hear what she's up to. And I just love being introduced to new people. So she reached out to me, or her friend did, and this is going to be great. So welcome, and thank you for being on today.
Thank you, Miranda. Great honor to be here.
You look great. I love the flowers. It just looks like a peaceful background there. So if you guys are watching, oh, it's just beautiful. So thanks for being on. I know you're on the East Coast, but you grew up in South Africa. So kind of tell us a little bit of your background.
Okay, so I'm a life coach. That's why I'm here. And my journey to life coaching was very, very personal. I had a horrible relationship with my mom. She was addicted to painkillers with all the drama and the craziness that comes with that. So very dependent kind of relationship. And it was this bitter mix of resentment and guilt, and I was like, I felt so out of integrity as a Christian. That's not the way I want to live. That's not the way I wanted to feel towards my mom. So and then we immigrated to the US and she stayed behind in South Africa. And that was like, at last I can get away from her.
Wow. How old were you?
Like 8 years ago. It's like, so it's the whole of my adult life. We had this very strained relationship. But it's like someone is out of your life, but they're still in your mind. They're still in your heart.
Absolutely.
It's like, so you have to deal with that. And then I discovered this podcast, which is why I love podcasting so much. And this woman explained a different way to have relationships. And the big insight was a different take on emotions,
Yeah.
how they are created, where they are in your body, how to deal with them in a better way. And I started applying that. And for the last 3 years of my mother's life, I was able to have this wonderful relationship with her.
Wow.
Because of that, I completely transformed the relationship. But one snack, it was long distance.
Oh, sure.
I spoke to her over the phone, and I was like always at the back of my mind, the fear, are my tools going to work in person?
Yeah.
And then last year, my mother-in-law passed away, and my husband and I, we decided to go back to South Africa to help with the funeral. And we had some of our stuff in storage at our house, so we had to take care of that. And okay, God was giving me the opportunity. Now, my child, you are going to see your mother in person and see if it still works. Okay. And it did. It was amazing. I spent 3 weeks not all the time, I had other things to do as well, but a longer times. And I could do stuff for her. And I was accepting her and loving her in a way I've never had before. But this is quite a long story, but if I can tell you about the last day I saw her, because that was like, that was the big breakthrough for me.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, we were on the way to almost getting back, and it was 3 weeks crazy, very hectic, and I was kind of tired. And I know myself, because of the life coaching tools, I know myself when I'm tired, the self-care is important, then the boundaries that's when they are at their most vital point. You have to take care of them. But she knew it was the last day we were flying back, and now she was like manipulating me again, communicating in an indirect way. That was the pattern. Stay longer. When I'm going to see you, I'm going to miss you so much. That kind of communication. And I could feel in my body, I could feel all the old feelings coming back.
Wow.
But then I could calm myself and tell myself, no, I'm very tired. I'm going to tell her goodbye now, because of the way that I've thought about feelings. It's like I knew where feelings come from, where hers come from, and they are not as scary and they can't really kill her.
Yeah.
So I was able to tell her, no, Mom, I'm leaving now. And then, hours before the flight. And then I went to my sister-in-law's house and I just did nothing.
Yeah.
Flipped through magazines, just like I knew it was a long flight home. Just take my time and rest. And so you could figure, but you could have spent more time with your mom. Why didn't you?
Sure.
But I did that for the relationship.
Yeah.
But little did I know that was the last time I would ever see her.
Wow.
She died 3 weeks later of COVID.
Wow.
And if I were to think back now, did I make the right decision? Yes, I did.
Wow. Good
I
for
know
you.
that is a hard thing to say, but it's because of the big shift that happened in me.
Yeah.
Because I realized it's like I don't want to end the relationship or the visit on on a bad note.
Yeah.
I wanted the peace and the understanding to be there till the bitter end. And I realized emotions are fleeting. They pass through your body. They're not that scary. So
Yeah.
I could tell her goodbye. And then on the flight home, I got this one, I'm going to tear up probably with this. I got this text from her. Thank you for all your love. When I look at my room, because I cleaned up a room and I made it pretty for her. When I look at my room, all I see is your love.
Wow. Wow. I have goosebumps the whole time you're talking. So that is beautiful.
And it's because I had boundaries in place. There were limits in the relationship, but it feels counterintuitive.
Yes.
Especially Christian women, it's hard for us to tell people no, right? But in the long run, it's better for us and for the other person and for the relationship.
Yes.
So I think that's like my story in a nutshell. Wow.
So good. And my mind is going because I have a million different directions we could go. I know most everybody can raise their hand and say, yes, I've dealt with that. You know, whether it's a parent, a spouse, a child,
A sibling even.
coworker, I mean, anybody, a friend, absolutely. And it's so important. A couple of things you said, self-care, 100%. You are the only one that knows what's best for you, and you are the only one that can make that decision and choice to do that for you, no matter what, if someone else is saying, I need you right now, and I need this, I need that, I need, and it's like, you can only do so many things for so many people, right? And you have to take care of yourself. So that's really good. And just boundaries. I mean, that's just so good. Oh my goodness. So who's like, go ahead.
I read the book the other day about time management of all things, and it's just the way that the guy stated it. It's like, do you know how many weeks you have if you were to live up to 80?
Wow.
Only 4,000.
Oh gosh, I was gonna say we probably don't want to know.
It's not a lot, right? If you think of it in that. So you have to be like a steward of your own time, because that's the time God gave you. And if you are always running on someone else's agenda and their needs, you are really not fulfilling the purpose that God had in mind for you.
Yeah.
So I think we have to be protective of our time and our energy.
Absolutely. Yes. And I called this podcast Valuable Voices for a few different reasons. You have a valuable voice, you need to use it. A lot of times, at least my experience, I didn't feel like my voice was valuable. I didn't feel heard. And again, you are the only one that can speak up for yourself, so use your voice, your story, and you're valuable. Saying no means no, and it takes time to learn some of that. We weren't all grown up, we didn't learn that, or we learned it and didn't use it correctly or didn't believe our word or whatever. But also just the voices you're listening to, like you talked about your mom being in your head, even if you weren't living with her, even if you were a million of miles away, you still have the voices that you've heard your whole life that you've believed. Again, maybe she didn't mean to hurt you. People say things, but our perspective and what we hear sometimes are whatever. For me, it's like, you're not good enough, blah, blah, blah,
Yes.
So again, make sure you're listening to those valuable voices. I love that you're reading books, you're listening to podcasts. I love that. Now, did you get a life coach yourself, or how did you become a life coach?
Yes, when I listened to that podcast, it was a life coach, and it was not a Christian, but it's like, I believe all wisdom is coming from God anyway. So he was using her, and it was just like the right message for me at the right time. So I started following her, and she had like a mastermind. And in the end, I got certified through her school, the life coach school as well, because it had such a big impact on my life. I was like, these tools, we need to spread them to more women, because the interesting thing that, the whole way that she, this woman taught me about to look at our thoughts, our feelings, it's like, oh, but the Bible has been saying that for ages.
Right.
And suddenly it makes sense when you think of brain science and the latest, now that we understand how human brains are wired. Oh, but, for instance, Paul tells us, get angry, but do not sin.
Mm.
And when you really like analyze, you take that apart, it's like, oh, okay, so I can experience the emotion, but not act on it.
Wow, that's good.
But he's quoting from the Old Testament there, and I think it's from Psalm 4. And when you go back, it's like, get angry, do not sin, lie on your bed and meditate. That's the rest of that little quote that he didn't include. And that's exactly what I learned and what I teach my clients to do with emotions, is to just like experience it in their body and just sit quiet. You can feel very angry and not act out, not yell, not have a temper tantrum. It's like sitting with it, being willing to experience that feeling in your body till it passes, so you do not sin.
Right.
But Paul is really not, and even David, wrote the original psalm, he's really not saying we shouldn't have these feelings.
Right.
It's just like, how do we deal with them? I think that was the big insight for me that changed everything. And if that is true, because it's with my kind of relationship with my mother, it's very codependent, right?
Sure.
So you take responsibility for other people's emotions.
Yes.
But once you understand this, she can also just like sit with her own feelings. It's not that dangerous.
Right.
Okay, then it's just it's passing. It's not going to last forever. So that was big.
Now, did you help your mom in that way? Did you kind of coach her, or was it really more on your side?
It was on my side, but then she got interested. You changed. What happened?
Oh.
Tell me what happened. And she would often, I phone her once a week, and, we just talked over the phone, and she would often tell me, I wish someone shared this with me years and years ago.
Right. Yes. Yeah. We didn't have the tools, not all of us have the tools as we were growing up. Yeah. Wow. And I feel like, don't you think a lot of people suppress the emotions and the feelings? They don't really feel it. Like I can say, I run from one thing to the next. I barely sit down and just feel.
And you keep yourself busy so that you don't have to feel.
It's a mechanism, right? It's like a distraction mechanism. Yeah.
Yes. But it's like beach ball under the water kind of. It takes a lot of mental and emotional energy to keep those emotions suppressed.
That's a good visual. Yeah.
So once you learn to deal with it in a more constructive way, you gain so much more energy to really fulfill the purpose that God had in mind for you.
Wow, that's good. So who would you say is your ideal client? Who do you like working with?
Someone like you. any Christian woman who's like really feeling she's people pleasing, or she's just like, she feels she's not living up to her full potential. She knows there's more, but she really doesn't know how to fix that.
Yeah.
And then I would teach her these tools and level up almost all aspects of her life, her relationships, even her, if she wants to start a business or a side hustle or just a job. And just the way that she relates with herself, in even her self-worth, and thinking about herself in a completely new way.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, and relationships are so important. Again, we're dealing with people every day, wherever you are, as a mom, as a spouse, a employee, so many people and different personalities. And it's just understanding that. And, sometimes I think somebody might react to us in a certain way. And again, we might feel responsible for that. And something I learned is we're not responsible how they react.
No.
Do you want to talk about that?
When you think back how I explained about the emotion, you create, all of us, we create our emotions with our thoughts.
Yeah.
Something happens, and then you have to interpret that. You have to attach a story to that. And that creates the emotion. Once you understand that, and that's true of the other person as well. Now, can you do things that makes it harder for them to deal with what's happening? Of course you can.
Sure.
But ultimately, the responsibility is with them. It's with each one of us.
Yeah.
You take responsibility for your own feelings. It's so empowering.
Yeah.
You get so much more agency over your life. Oh, wow. I've created that with my own mind. So actually, we have a lot more power over our emotions. We have more, we can change it if we want to.
Yeah.
And that's like it changes the whole way that you interact with anyone else. If you look at it's a skill set. And like you said, it's what I like about life coaching. It's like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So it ripples out to
Yeah.
all areas of your life. It's a skill. It's skills you can learn.
Yeah.
By everywhere.
Yeah. Well, I love life coaching. I love what you're doing. Very inspiring just to hear your story. I love that you're living out your purpose and your passion. I can feel your heart in it. You know, I can tell you want to help other women for sure. So tell us where to find you. What's your website? How can we connect with you?
Okay, I hope I'm going to say it right. We're all going to put it in the show notes,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's my website is Risa for coaching, and the 4 is the number 4. So Risa number 4 for coaching.com.
Awesome.
And there on my website, you will find I have nice freebies. Actually, the one that I would like to talk about is I have a recording where I actually walk you through your emotions.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect.
And people love that. You know, it's like, because it can feel a little bit theoretical and abstract, but
Yeah.
once I walk you through the process, and then, this is how I'm supposed to do it. That's one that I like, and I would like to
Okay.
tell your
Thank
people
you.
about.
Well, and again, there's many people I can think of that I want to share this with, because like you talked about, sometimes you hear things 10, 15, 20 different times, but you hear it a certain way and you get a different perspective, or you hear somebody else's point of view on that. So I'm already thinking of people I want to share that with. So thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you. Best of luck and stay connected. I love what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Miranda. And good luck for you too. I think what you're doing is also, it's so wonderful having all these voices that you give an
Thank
audience.
you. Yeah, it's just been a blessing just be connected to so many people from all over the world. And again, just they're all doing for good. They're taking kind of their pain and their hurt and helping other people. It's just like a pay it forward. It's so beautiful. So, well, thanks everyone for listening. And thanks, Risa, for being on. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.